I've just got to show you this document from the University of New Hampshire. It is a real university and it is a real document. You're not going to believe me, but I promise you, I've checked it out. Here's University of New Hampshire, a very pretty campus, as you might expect, founded in 1866. Look at that. About 15,000 lucky students go there. Lucky, I say, because seriously, I mean, get out your checkbook. For out-of-state students, an undergraduate tuition is almost 30 grand US. To go to their law school, depending on the program, can be $40,000 or even $50,000 a year in tuition. I mean, it's fancy. But folks, you couldn't pay me enough to attend this university. I wouldn't go there if you paid me 50 grand, because check this out. This is real. It's their bias-free language guide. Did you know that's what they teach you in universities? Including $50,000 a year universities? Let me start with their poetic preamble to this speech code. It's amazing. Quote, "In a democracy, recognition matters. Everyone wants to be seen as who they are. If they are not, then it's impossible for them to enjoy the experience of being full citizens." Melissa Harris Perry. Well, no, that's actually not what democracy means. Democracy is a system of government. It's how we elect our government. In the US and Canada, it usually means a liberal democracy, that is the right to vote for our government and certain guaranteed liberties beyond votes, like freedom of speech, for example. So the right not to have to follow some rules about what you can or can't say. But who is this Melissa Harris Perry? Is she some philosopher or scholar? No. I mean, she did briefly teach at a university. She's got a degree in political science, but her claim to fame is that she's a TV pundit on the far-left channel MSNBC. Seriously, here's the deep thinker who set the tone for the speech code at the University of New Hampshire. Here's a fun one. Take a look.
I just have to show these. My producer Lorena made for me last week some tampon earrings because, of course, you'll remember that the Texas state legislature said that you couldn't bring tampons in when they were going these women to, in fact, stand up for their own reproductive rights. You weren't allowed to initially to bring tampons. So just in case that ever happens again, ladies, you can just bring them on your earrings.
I've got nothing against her wearing tampons as earrings. I mean, she's an entertainer, and I guess that's entertaining. I'm just not sure if she's the kind of moral role model for a whole university. And remember, this speech code is about making everyone feel safe at university, regardless of things like race. So just for an example, what does Melissa Harris Perry say about interracial relationships? Not dating even, but say a white family who adopts a black orphan and just loves that black baby so much. Well, I'll show you what she says.
And one that was pretty cute. Everybody loves a baby picture. And this was one that really, a lot of people had emotions about this baby picture this year. This is the Romney family.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, there on Governor Romney's knee is his adopted grandson, who is an adopted African-American child, Kieran Romney. Any captions for this one?
One of these things is not one of these things. Just isn't the same. And that little baby, front and center, would be the one.
And isn't he the most gorgeous? My goal is that in 2040, the biggest thing of the year will be the wedding between Kieran Romney and Northwest. Can you imagine Mitt Romney and Kanye West as in-laws?
I think this picture is great. It's really sums up the diversity of the Republican Party.
Yeah,
Every RNC. They have the convention. They find the one black person.
We still have so much to get to, including the annual look back in laughter tradition of asking, hey, was that racist?
Yeah, let's mock a black baby being adopted by a white family. And did you hear her right at the end there? Come right back and she'll teach you about other people's racism. What's so weird is that Harris Perry's own mom is white and her dad is black. But I guess it's okay for her to be racist when it's a Republican baby. It won't surprise you that she's a fan of that fake black girl, Rachel Dolezal, who pretended to be black and got a job running the NAACP in Spokane until it was revealed that she was actually white. So that's the role model for this speech code. Okay, let's go through it. I mean, this is a speech code, that's what it is. Of course, that would be too clear to call it that. You would never call a speech code a speech code. Listen to how audacious this is. And I quote, "The text was prepared for faculty, staff, and students of the UNH community to encourage the full range of contributions that we offer as individuals and members of various groups. The guide presents practical revisions in our common usage that can make a difference and break barriers relating to diversity." Yeah, but it doesn't encourage the full range of comments. The whole document contains a list of words you can't say. Its ambitions are to change how people talk all the time, in every instance. They want to change the common usage, as they say. I read a book about that once. It was called 1984. Big Brother had invented a new language called Newspeak that eliminated pesky words altogether and came up with euphemisms. The Ministry of War was called the Ministry of Peace. The Ministry of Propaganda was called the Ministry of Truth. That's what this is. Here's how they put it. Quote, "The following bias-free language guide is meant to serve as a starting point about terms related to age, race, class, ethnicity, nationality, gender, ability, sexual orientation, and more," unquote. So it's just the beginning, folks. I like that starting point bit. They want a whole conversation about conversations. You thought you were paying 50 grand a year to learn about something, you know, history, law, engineering, whatever. No, you are going for a 4-year re-education, a 4-year conversation about conversations. And no, this isn't censorship. Quote, "This guide is not a means to censor, but rather to create dialogues of inclusion where all of us feel comfortable and welcomed," unquote. The Ministry of Peace is not about war. No. This is not about censorship. It's about creating dialogues where we all feel comfortable, unless you were going to say something that's banned on the list. Then you're not allowed to be comfortable. You're not welcome to say it. I love this part. Quote, "We invite your feedback, including suggestions, edits, and additions. Thanks for reading, and thanks for careful consideration when you speak." So, hey, give us your feedback. Seriously, be honest. We really are open-minded, but you'd better be careful what you tell us. Don't make us uncomfortable or unwelcome. But no. Tell us what you really think, as long as it's approved. I mean, what? Now, this document is about 5,000 words long. I'm not going to go through all of it here, but if you're a student at University of New Hampshire or a professor, you better read this whole thing and obey it. But let's just look at the heading, microaggressions. Seriously, what's a microaggression? Well, here's the official example they use. Quote, "When women in the workplace enter a conference room where portraits of past CEOs or boards of directors are honorifically displayed, and they are all men, the implicit message is that women are less competent and or that women may not be selected for leadership in that organization," unquote. Really? If you see that a man did something great and his picture's on the wall, and you're a woman, does it really say to you that you're less great? What? So what about the president of the University of New Hampshire himself? I mean, check out his website. For their own president, Mark W. Huddleston, he's not just a man, but he's the worst kind of man, a white man, and he looks about 60. I mean, seriously, how can anyone who is not an old white man even stand going to this university without feeling the microaggression of knowing that their university president has his picture displayed on their website? Now, this speech code breaks down microaggressions into subcategories. Did you know that? There are micro-assaults. Seriously, look at that. I'm not making this up. That's not someone actually assaulting you, micro-assault maybe with their pinky finger. They call a micro-assault saying something like, here's their example, "Dogs smell funny." If you say that to someone with a seeing eye dog, now that might be rude, it might be true, it might be inappropriate, it might be a joke. It might be a joke the blind person says. So what, though? It's now the subject of their speech code, as are countless other things in this 5,000-word index of banned ideas. There are micro-insults. Did you know that? That's different from micro-assaults. This is defined at length, including one example of, quote, "someone who exhibits a stubborn, begrudging attitude." But don't we all do that sometimes? I mean, is there a human being alive who's not occasionally stubborn or grudging? Say, don't you think this speech code is quite stubborn and certainly grudging, not to mention humorless? And then there's another species of microaggression they list called micro-invalidation. Here's their official example, and I quote, "The new international student is having language challenges," unquote. You can't say that? But what if it's true? What if a foreign student doesn't really know English too well? Isn't it actually your duty to tell him that? I mean, you're at a university, right? Isn't the right answer, if you are a university focused on learning, to say, "Oh, you're having language challenges, so let's get you a tutor, or let's change your course around"? I mean, I don't know. I'm not the one who's charging 50 grand a year to teach people things. And the crazy thing is, I bet not a single foreign student in the history of this university has ever been upset when they were told that they were having language challenges, because they probably know that they are. And they're probably okay with that prospect, having chosen to come to a foreign land to go to school in a different language. And they probably want help and feedback and advice, both official and informal, from teachers and from friends. And call me crazy, they probably don't want a bunch of Americans walking around them on eggshells thinking, geez, I can't be myself around these foreign students. I can't speak honestly. I can't make a joke. I can't even offer them help. I can't be human because I don't want to microaggress them. Only a white liberal do-gooder could come up with crap like this. Look, I haven't even gotten into this thing yet. There's still so much for me to go through, all now on video. You can click, if you want to read the whole thing, just click right here to read the whole document for yourself. I've downloaded the page because after this was released to the students and some media saw it, the university quickly took it down from their website. I don't know if they'll put it back up, but you can see it on the website here, or here. Look, I don't know if they were microaggressed into being ashamed of themselves at the university, or if the university thought this was just, they were being too widely ridiculed, or both. But I think it's important to go through this because it reflects the state of the art of their thinking, and surely at countless other liberal schools too. So just some quick snappers. I'm going through the 5,000 words here. Don't say the word diabetic. Say a person with diabetes. Seriously, diabetic, that's so racist of you to say. Now, if you happen to encounter someone who is not some minority, say if you meet President Huddleston, the proper term for him is not healthy or normal. You must describe him from the perspective of someone who isn't. And I quote, non-disabled is the preferred term for people without disabilities. Problematic, normal, able-bodied, healthy, or whole. Here's another example. Let's say there's some psycho in your class, some predator, for example. Let's say you're a woman. Okay, super, you're not a male. And let's say there's some evil male, a white male who's totally stalking you, and he's a bit nuts. Well, don't you dare say that. Here's the preferred rule. Quote, preferred, seeking help for emotional mental health. Person who identifies as having an emotional disability. Problematic, emotionally disturbed. Oh, and you know what else you shouldn't use? You shouldn't use the word American. Seriously. Quote, preferred, U.S. citizen or resident of the U.S. Problematic, American. Yeah, obviously it's too racist. Oh, and don't say the word Arab. Just don't. Preferred, Western Asian, Northern African people. Problematic, Arabs. Now, what about the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, like Rachel Dolezal? Well, you never say the words colored persons. Preferred, black, or African American. Problematic, Negro, Negroid, colored person, dark. But hang on, a little bit lower on the speech code, it says you can use the phrase people of color. Preferred, people of color. Problematic, colored, non-white. Hang on, didn't it just say no to people of color? Now, don't you dare say Caucasian. That's weird, isn't it? Preferred, white people, European American individuals. Problematic, Caucasian people. European American? What, aren't there white people in places like Australia or wherever? Good Lord, and don't even get into issues of sex. So you just don't even open your mouth. Preferred, sexual reassignment surgery, SRS. Gender reaffirming surgery, gender confirming surgery. Problematic, outdated, sex change. So Bruce Jenner did not have a sex change, people, so stop saying that he did. That would be ciscentrism, a pervasive and institutionalized system that places transgender people in the other category and treats their needs and identities as less important than those of cisgender people. Note, this includes the lack of gender-neutral restrooms, locker rooms, and residences, unquote. So I guess University of New Hampshire had better get busy building boys and girls dorms with boys and girls in the same dorm and gender-affirmed people in wherever, change rooms, whatever. I mean, what, are you racist? You against that? Oh, don't say you guys. That's sexist. The glossary of language. Preferred, folks, people, you all, and y'all. Problematic, outdated, guys, when referring to people overall. Oh, don't think that saying y'all means you can now fly a Confederate flag, though. Don't say the word freshman. Don't say the word chairman. Don't say mailman. Don't say postman. These are all in this list. Only a matter of time before they ban the word Manchester, New Hampshire. Now it'll be called Personchester. Don't even say opposite sex. It's other sex, you know. I got a headache from all this. You cannot follow all these rules. It's literally impossible. Some of the rules conflict with other rules, which I think is part of the plan, is to create a feast for bureaucrats and lawyers and consultants to come in and adjudicate and prosecute and vilify and to bill. Not a lot of teaching going on, but a lot of inclusion by exclusion. Here's all you need to know about the speech code. You're already guilty. I don't care if you're a black lesbian in a wheelchair, you are still guilty of something, of offending someone, of breaking some rule. You're all guilty. You just have to be charged. You know, I bet one of the things they don't teach at the University of New Hampshire these days is Orwell's book, 1984. Well, they don't teach the book, but why bother? They're acting it out. For TheRebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.